Hi, everyone. Happy Lionsgate Day 8/8. Uh, I'm going to do a tuning that is for today, but it's also probably going to be timeless. As always, with something like this, I just came up with the idea 3 hours ago. So I don't really know what we're going to do. That's always the fun of these things, is that it's like a little adventure that we're all heading off on together to, I don't know, we'll see where we end up. So for those of you who are here, maybe drop a note in and say where you're from. It's always fun to see where everyone's tuning in from. And then I just want you to, Sweden, look at that. That's so cool that we can all connect like this spontaneously. I really love that. There's anybody who shows up, we're all kind of in the same vibe tribe. We're all kin. And it's always nice to be present with your kin. Australia, Finland, Hollywood, Chicago. What's with all these Swedish people? Colorado, San Diego. Awesome. Yay. And you're all free enough. I just want to acknowledge this. You're all free enough to show up, right? You're not at a job, or maybe you are. You're here. And I love that you have that freedom to show up. Northern Illinois, Ireland, Connecticut. Awesome. Netherlands, on lunch. I'm so glad. 3 a.m. Good job. All right. For those of you who woke up in the middle of the night, you're like, what am I going to do to go back to sleep? Oh, look, Eileen's doing a tuning. All right. So why don't we get started? And it's always good to start just by checking in with your body in this moment. Make sure that you're comfortable wherever you are. You can lie down, you can sit up, you can listen through headphones, you can listen through your speakers, however you're comfortable. And make sure that you've got water nearby, because it's good being hydrated coming into these and certainly afterwards. So if you don't have water, go grab some. And make sure you bless it. I don't know if you've seen, where did my water go? Oops, somehow I lost it. No, there it is. I don't know if anybody's seen my water blessing, but there's another video here on YouTube where I teach you how to charge and structure and bless water just with your hands. You can certainly do it with forks. What blessing water has taught me is that we're always informing the water in us and the water around us. Water is vibrational, right? It holds vibes. And the more love and light that you hold in your own being, that you can bring in and radiate, the more that light is going to inform everything you touch, right? We all know people who are great in the kitchen. I used to own a restaurant, and there were some employees, like, I didn't even want them to make a sandwich for me. There's just something about the vibe that they put into it. Whereas other people, everything they touch is just delicious, right? Same with plants. And it really has to do with the quality of your own energy and the feelings that you're feeling and the energy that you're putting out. So before you drink your water, just take a moment to love it. Feel light in you, some in love, like you're loving a puppy or kitten, and just love your water. Really love it. And that sends good energy into it. Okay, so everybody's got water. You're sitting down comfortably. Now you want to just check in. So take a moment, close your eyes, do kind of an inner evaluation of how you're feeling, what you're noticing in this moment. Now, I'm not an astrologer, and I don't know a ton about Lionsgate. I do know that it's when the constellation Sirius has the most electromagnetic impact on us, and it raises the amount of available energy. And so anything that you really clearly state or think or desire or want to manifest during this time can be magnified. But pretty much everything is magnified. And many of you may have found that emotions have been magnified, and that old emotional stuff might be kind of blowing up like landmines in your life when you're not expecting, just big waves of emotion coming up, which is good, better out than in, as we say in Biofield Tuning. But when you're in the process of processing emotions or dealing with drama, you're really not able to put your attention on what you desire. So, part of what inspired me to do this session with you guys today is I was trying to come up last night with my own list of things that I wanted to manifest. And even this morning I was thinking about it. And honestly, I could not come up with really anything. I'm in a very fortunate position where really my needs are met. Like I don't really feel the need to change anything, but I've been working on this manifestation thing for decades. I've been working on clearing myself for decades. And the more that you do that, the more that you heal, the more that you become whole, the better you become at making sure your needs are met. Right? And it's our job to figure out what our needs are and how to meet them. And it's really easy to get in a position where you want someone to come and save you, or you want to win the lottery, you want that kind of instant solution that is going to rescue you from where you are. I know I spent years thinking that way. And then it finally dawned on me that I had to rescue myself. Like nobody's coming with $10 million for my lab or whatever. Nobody is coming to rescue me from my own challenges, that it was my job to do that. But that's not easy to do when you've got stuff in the way. And so I realized that I did have a desire, and my desire is always like to help other people. And I know there's people out there whose needs aren't met. You haven't worked through as much as I have, and then you could use a little boost today to help kind of clear some static out of the way and bring more clarity, so that you can help to see what it is you need and want, and be able to speak that really clearly. Right? It's so important that we give voice to what our desires are. Like if you go to a restaurant, and order anything, you're going to get bread and water. Like that's what you're going to get. But if you can really articulate what your desires are, then you will get them. And so the importance of being able to recognize what it is we want and need, and articulate that really clearly, and also understand the why behind it as well. So in tuning, and the purpose of this tuning, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to listen. I'm just going to tune in and listen. Listen to the collective group that's here. If you're watching the video later, I'm listening to you too. I'm listening to anybody who's ever going to watch this video, just so you know. And then we'll see where we go. The way that I do it is I just kind of read what's arising. Just kind of narrate as we go through. But I think the sort of box, the sort of clear intention here is to settle the noise, to open to the powers that are available, and to be able to engage that successfully. Okay. All right. So I have a few forks with me at the moment. I have my 174, which is what sort of my workhorse fork. I have my 144, which is the let's listen to how wonky things can really be fork. And then I have my 528 hertz fork, which is kind of like a polishing, finishing, brightening fork. And I'm going to start off with a 174, and we're just going to listen. All right. So you can just close your eyes and don't intend anything. Don't try anything. Don't force anything. Just be curious. Okay. Just kind of be curious about what's going on in your inner landscape, in your thoughts, in how your body feels. All right. And just watch. That's what I'm going to do. We're just going to watch what happens as we go. All right. Let's get started. And just so y'all know, for curious people who don't know, I'm activating it on a hockey puck. Okay. Okay, so what I hear in those two strikes is a kind of rigidity, a kind of stiffness. And this really speaks to the thought that I've been articulating lately, which is what is standing in the way of you and you experiencing yourself as your optimum self is tension. And that's really it. Like on a very, very fundamental level, we're either in a state of contraction or we're in a state of expansion. We're either expanding or we're contracting. And many of us grew up in homes where we contracted a lot. And certainly the way our culture is and, political correctness, there's just so many things going on that are making us stiff. I also have found in observing the fields of people who received the vaccine that there's a kind of stiffening that happens with that as well. So I'm going to come back and I'm just going to keep listening to this stiffness and see where it wants to go, right? The other thing is that so many of us have gotten in the habit of holding ourselves back, not emoting, not expressing, not speaking our mind, not speaking our truth, not being the bright, shiny, alive beings that we are. So many people see were like that in childhood, and then the world just puts you into a shell and you contract and are in from that point of contraction, you can't experience your potential because your potential is expanded, right? So this work with tuning forks goes in and it finds these places where we're contracted, where we're shut down, where we're collapsed, and it helps to open them up. So maybe noticing where you might be tight. I feel tightness in the chest. I feel restriction in breath. Just pay attention. Where is this resonating in you? This is really dull and compressed. It's hot. This feels like suppressed anger held in. That one sounds funny. So this is dull. This is sort of low energy. And that's what happens when we get contracted is energy doesn't flow. So we become exhausted. Our voltage drops. The more resistance in our electrical system, the lower our voltage, right? So this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that kind of dull, low energy. That's a consequence of this restriction and voltage decrease. A lot of that. Yeah, worn out by life, kind of threadbare, kind of ugh. If the world ended tomorrow, I'd be like, phew, that sort of feeling. It's all right to feel that way. And a lot of stuff stuck here in the throat. And we really need our throat to be clear and open because we materialize things in life. We manifest by our word, And so the clearer and the more open our throat is and the stronger our word, the more we make things happen. We command the ether to materialize in the ways that we desire. Okay, there's another thing going on here that I need to call attention to, and that is there's a circular feeling. There's a feeling like I'm going around in circles, but I'm not getting anywhere. Can anybody relate to that feeling? Like I'm trying, but then I self-sabotage or something gets in the way, or I start to expand and then some kind of trauma comes in and I contract again. So this feeling of like I'm trying, but and I'm not getting there, right? Yeah. And that's something that'll really get in the way of you manifesting. You just keep going around in circles. So then that's a particular kind of tension in the body that does that, right? Somebody's saying open and then shut down. Something I really notice in biofield tuning is the tone will start to open and I'll be like, oh, we're getting somewhere. And then it'll shut back down again. And that's just that impulse. And I see this in people again, if you grew up in an eggshell house or you had abusive, nun teachers or something where you were like, I'm a kid and I'm running around. And then everyone's like, no, shut up, be quiet, stop. And you just kind of go, and it's a really normal response. Yeah, good. Anxiety and heart area, yeah. And that's part of that contraction is very often anxiety. Will pull us back in, will pull us into that restriction and constriction, right? So as we listen to the wah, 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 that's informing your energy. It's holding up a mirror and going, look at what you do. You do this. And your energy goes, wow, I hear that. I feel that. And your brain goes, yeah, I totally do that, right? So as we reflect this back to you, your brain starts to recognize that pattern and it will start to correct it. Because your body is designed to be in harmony. Your physical body has everything it needs to be optimized. Most of us. All right, let's keep listening. And there's emotion underneath it. I don't know if anybody's got any emotion coming up, but part of anxiety is like it's a topical feeling of discomfort, but there's often a lot of other emotions underneath. So if any of those start to percolate up, that's okay. Right? We want to feel it to heal it. I'm still spinning. And it's starting to straighten out a little bit. Yeah, sadness. I really feel that in the throat. What does it feel like when you're not going around in circles? What does it feel like when you're actually accomplishing things? How does that feel in your body to not be doing this, but to just be on a nice trajectory of matter-of-fact accomplishment? Because that's really what it's all about. I mean, it's just steps and tasks, but we get emotional patterning that gets in the way, right? We all know somebody who's like really good at this, that, and the other, but whenever they're confronted with this, they fall apart. Whereas if they just applied the same skills that they're applying to this, that, and the other to this, then they'd have the same outcome, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? So we want to recognize and discharge, sort of almost erase whatever thing is going on, so that your system knows what it feels like to have ease in doing whatever needs to be done, right? In a matter of fact kind of way. So what happened was it started to expand and sound good, and now it went back into contraction, back into like, and that's so normal. This is something I see in groups. It's something I see in individuals, and that heavy energy wants to come back in. And now it's like, really kind of careening around, and that's okay. This is how we sort it out. Yeah, distortion. So this is something different that's coming in here. Let me just see if I can figure out what it is. And my tummy's rumbling. My diaphragm wants to move, right? So if at any point you feel like you want to move. If you feel like you want to make some sound, make some sound, okay? Express. It's doing what I am, getting going, and then it peters out. Yeah, exactly. And that's all rhythmic and tonal and patterning in you, right? We're so wordy and we try to like stick word labels on everything, but really it's rhythmic, it's cyclical, right? I was like, oh, I feel like it, and then I'm losing steam, and I feel like it, and I'm losing steam. And that means that this is happening in your system. All right, I'm going to switch forks just because. And let's come in and listen with the 144, which is always interesting. That one just made me nauseous and burp. So this feels like it's working more in the gut. I feel anxiety, and also how like this tendency to kind of run around and not really do anything is anxiety driven. It's anxiety driven. Very often when we feel anxious, we'll just like go try to do something. But if the action is coming from anxiety, then very often it isn't sustainable. And very often we don't even necessarily recognize that our busyness or that our running around in circles is actually being driven by some deep discomfort. And we might perceive it as anxiety, but there might be a whole lot of other emotions underneath. Yeah, grating in my head, queasy in my belly, dizzy and nauseous. Okay, so we might have a little bit of rough stuff as we go through this one. It's really, really reflecting the anxiety. A lot of anxiety. Okay, so I'm feeling some openings starting to happen between the shoulders and in the upper chest. So that's what I'm noticing. See what you notice. And if you're still in the whatever, that's fine. Like you don't have to be noticing relaxation yet. There's a lot of in here. It's really moving around the head. Oh, kind of like the lack of focus, right? It's kind of an ADD feeling here. It's like, oh, that and this and this and that and this and that. Like it's all like, kind of everywhere. All of us with our short attention spans now. I feel my throat tightening. And I'm getting hot too. Yeah, so this is an interesting kind of feeling. Like I'm seeing people like doing all these things. It's not like you're not doing stuff, but it's sort of like busy work that isn't really going anywhere, anxiety driven. Also, what other people's expectations are. So there's this feeling of really not moving from your core, not moving from your center, not moving from your soul. I'm kind of stuck in the ego, the personality, the expectations, the this, the that. Well, meanwhile, the soul desires, the soul needs, the parts of you that are saying, unearth me, express me, aren't necessarily being attended to. And very often, those parts of you are behind walls of chaos, walls of pain, right? And so, this is what we're really just hearing chaos. So, I'm just going to hang, I'm going to hang, we're just going to hang with this. Right? There's a lot of emotion comes up around that thought. It's like, it's my life. Oh, I want to live my life the way that for me. I mean, life is short. And just maybe be curious about where that center is. How does it feel in this moment? I think that it takes a lot of determination and a lot of grit, honestly, to do this work, to get to this core, to really heal and whole yourself. You got to be really determined. Like you got to, dig deeper. Have a little Tony Robbins on you, and really say, okay, we're really in this. Blah, 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 blah. It's really easy to be there. Everybody's there. Blah, blah, blah. Can you get into that deeper place? Right? I feel your determination, to your desire. I only say I feel your desire to be there. But what I want to feel is a little more certainty or determination or real intense curiosity about what it takes to get there. Yeah, that center is like the eye of a hurricane, and we're feeling the outskirts of the hurricane here. We're not feeling that center of that eye. We're feeling all the blah around it. And so we're just going to kind of create this invitation to move from the hurricane into the eye, into that calm center. And that calm center is really connected to source. Like in that place of calm center, we have light behind our eyes. We have really light in our whole being. And we recognize that the light of source is in us. It's our electrical system. I'm also feeling like a lot of you are challenged by people around you who are challenged, right? So I'm feeling part of what creates the hurricane is the periphery of other people's energy. And so there's a whole lot of other people's energy kind of showing up in this moment. We want you to learn to feel anchored and centered in the seat of you and to be able to hold that even with all this other stuff going on. Well, a big part of getting healthy, and especially for those of us who are empaths, don't be a wimp, guys. Those of you who are empaths, like stop it with the, oh, I can't take your vibes. I'm an empath and your energy just wipes me out. And I'm always suffering from other people's energy. Like that's such a victim story. And the reason why I'm being snide about this is because I spent a lot of time there myself. And so a big, big part of you being you is you believing that you can hold your boundaries, that you can hold your center, that your strong, coherent signal overtakes their incoherent signal. Okay. So I want you to really believe in yourself and the ability to do that. I figured out how to do it. It's doable. And next time you tell yourself some wimpy empath story, be like, delete and find your center and believe in your own strength. The world needs us as empaths to be coherent, not incoherent windsocks being victims by the nonsense. Okay. There we go. And it's a practice, so be patient with yourself. Yeah, lion power, right? And I think that that's a good thing to call in, guys, is your own lion heart and your own radiant illumination and strength. I was handed a tarot deck yesterday and I pulled the strength card, and it's a, warrior with a lion. And that's all of you can be that, you can all be with that strength and that connection to source, which is the source of that strength. Good. All right, that's giving me goosebumps a little bit. So that's definitely starting to feel more solid, more grounded. I feel your feet more. I feel you in your body more. Deep pulled strength today too. That's cool. Yeah, it's like it's strength's a little nervous, but it's doing it, which is good. Good. All right, we'll do a few more of these. This is again a little contraction and a dysregulation. So this is the signal that I'm hearing when you're trying to be strong, and the assholes, that always gets your goat shows up, and you have a patterned response. You have a patterned response, and this is what we're working against, because we've been having this patterned response ever since we were little, and you lose center and you get all whacked out, even when you're trying to be strong. So that's what's coming up here. We're just going to hang out with that. And this is just going to, again, kind of help to settle you and strengthen you in your own core, which then strengthens your outer boundaries. So the more centered and strong we are in the central channel, because the energy of the biofield flows through. So when you're strong in the middle, you're strong in the outer boundary. Whew, goosebumps. That feels a little ancestral. Sometimes when I get this cool breeze and I get goosebumps, it feels like we're working in with the ancestors. So a lot of us have inherited these patterns that go back in time. So let's send love and strength to our ancestors. Let's really mindfully hold them in your mind, and the strength that you're cultivating in your own heart and core, see it in them as well, even if they didn't manifest it in their life. I feel people being kind of pulled off center by their parents. I saw a comment go by earlier that is, we were often in patterns with our parents or even with our kids. And so I'm feeling how mom or dad can kind of set you off or get you off center. So we're just going to stabilize that relationship. That's it. So I feel everybody feels more even keeled. There's still a little like chatteriness. Here's an interesting thought that I'm having. The term addiction can be broken down into added diction. Okay. And this is a really interesting thing because I'm feeling some addiction stuff coming up. And a lot of, if you think about it, added addiction. So let's just say, you're a sugar addict, you're trying to quit, and all of a sudden you get this mental dialogue being like, oh, I really want sugar. Oh, no, I really shouldn't have it. Oh, I really want sugar. What should I have? What is that? That's a whole lot of added addiction overlaying your experience of your life. So I want you to become aware when you're doing this added diction thing and your thinking mind is going off the hook and you've got anxiety and all this is going on. It's just a pattern, it's just a program, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. And very often we are addicted to added addiction. We're just addicted to drama or whatever it is. We've got this thing going on, right? So that's what I'm hearing. So getting more centered, but there's still this addiction to whatever unnecessary stuff. And when we're indulging the unnecessary stuff, we're not energizing the necessary stuff. I made this post on Instagram the other day, and I realized a while back that one of the number one things that gets in the way of our ability to manifest, to use our word creatively, is drama. And instead, we're putting our words into fighting or arguing or defending or storying or, beating ourselves up or whatever kind of nonsense you're wasting your magical spell casting ability with. Our words are so precious, right? So just coming back and listening into this, like, is going to make you notice when you're doing that in your head, when you're doing that in your body. You're like, wow, I'm just addicted to this nonsense. And it's completely getting in the way. It's sucking my juice and stopping me from creating consciously and comprehensively and successfully. Okay. I can be safe coming from my center. I can be safe attending to what's necessary for me. I can stay grounded and solid. So that's settling down a lot. I'm going to let this one ring out. That sort of gone out of it. Okay, now I'm going to follow up with the 528. Just take a moment and check in where you're at. I still feel kind of a little bit of tension sort of right in my core. I'm thinking that this one might help to move that out. But I also want to describe something that I think is really important. And that's getting to this place of where you feel like there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, there's no axe to grind, there's nothing to fix, there's nothing wrong. When you get to that place of just pure beingness, right? That's where we're all trying to get to. And that's in a state where we're highly regulated, highly centered, very, very calm and clear inside. Where we're not driven by, this anxious running around kind of thing, but we can really just rest in being. And it's from that spacious place of beingness, right? That's fertile. That's a fertile place where ideas come and take root, and we know what we're being moved towards. Finally, when you emerge from that place, it's like, well, where do I go? What do I do? There's a kind of knowing that comes from that still center. So let's just listen in with this work and what it has to say. But I'm feeling like we're kind of land sort of somewhere in the heart solar plexus area in a kind of a clear radiance. It's just a kind of brightness, because it's what we all are. We all are light. You are the light you seek. Everything that you need is in you. And really bring your awareness into the sort of solar plexus heart area. Imagine you got a little sun in your solar plexus, and it's with every strike of this work, it's getting brighter, and it's illuminating the heart, illuminating the face, creating a kind of radiance coming from this part of our being. Sneak in any place that feels tight and help it to open up. And also feel that radiance. So I'm feeling you guys all lighting up. You're doing a great job. And also let it radiate down into your belly, into your pelvic floor, into your lower back, okay, into the hips. Really bring your awareness. Let it sink down there and light and brighten up. And everything goes, wee, because we're often very tight down there, right? A lot of us are more comfortably being open up here, but when it comes down to down here, no, it's not as easy. But it's really important. We want the whole fullness of our being to really be open. And this is, we're getting into the center, and the center radiates out in every direction. Right? Leo, the lion, is the sign of the sun. That lion heart energy, that radiant. Think of Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia. And even thinking about like every cell in your body having a little sun in it. Every single cell. So there might be parts of you that are shut down, that are dark, that are dim, that are closed still. See if you can just kind of see a little light, a little sun coming on in every single cell. Right? The more light and bright you are, obviously, the more manifesting power you have, but also like the more you love the light, the more the light loves you. And the more life loves you, right? The more you love life, the more life loves you. Life is like a mirror. Whatever face you make at it, it generally makes back at you. So if you are shining a lot of light, light's going to shine, life is going to shine a lot of light back on you. Send your breath and light into any cell that still doesn't have it. You can also throw a little like heart emoji in every cell as well. So you got love and light in there. It's just a vibe, it's just a wavelength to be on. And it makes your cells in your body really happy. You're giving a gift to the water in you, the human animal that you are. And we attract what we are. We experience what we are. So what's coming up right now is like a tightness in the spleen and pancreas. And this is really about letting in sweetness, letting in light, letting in nourishment, nourishing yourself with what you need. And the spleen and the pancreas, especially the spleen, relate to our mother. So I'm feeling kind of like mother issues sort of rearing their little head here. And so I'm just going to direct these next couple strikes at the spleen and pancreas with the intention of opening them up more to sweetness. Like, can you really envision hearts in every cell? Like, can you do that? And if you can't, why not? Right? And probably if you're struggling, I would guess that your mom might have something to do with it. Dad also certainly can, but I'm hearing mom at the moment. Right? There's expression that wants to happen here. So guys, I'm going to give you some homework, and that is when we wrap up, and I'm not sure we'll wrap up when we're done. I really want you to express in some way. So whether it's sitting down and doing some automatic writing, going outside and talking, I don't know. I want you to express something, and from whatever part of your body you're noticing is tight. So if your shoulders are still giving you a hard time, your liver's in a bunch, or we don't work through your spleen and pancreas, let those parts of you make sound, right? That's a big way that we kind of open up what's collapsed, because there's always sound in there. Yeah, go out barefoot. All right, so we're going to do a few more of these until I really feel everything kind of loosen as much as it wants to today and brighten. Okay, so what I'm hearing in these last few strikes is actually the energy of the stars, the Sirius, the Lion's Gate. Like I'm feeling the cosmic energy now that we've kind of settled ourselves down and dealt with the receiver, right? We've gotten the antenna kind of straightened out a little bit so that we can receive this energy and information, this light language or whatever is coming through. So I want you to visualize it like you got a little sunroof on the top of your head, and you're going to slide that open. And we're going to, these next few strikes, we're going to really just open the body to receiving this information, receiving this energy, and maybe receiving inspiration too about, how you want to go forward, and how you want to use your word and your amazing human body uh, to create in this realm. And really just let your imagination show you what it will. Right, and I'm hearing, I'm magical, I'm powerful, I'm creative, I'm capable, right? There's all of these things that you are, and you get out of your own way. I can love myself. I can take care of myself. I can do what I need to do. I can stop going around in circles. Right, we are stars, guys. We are starlight. And these are our brothers, sisters. This is us. Yeah, good. So I'm just looking at the group kind of with my third eye vision, and everybody, I'm seeing, you're seeing us all in a circle, and all of your third eyes feel very lit up. Everybody feels grounded, connected to the ground, and just kind of in grace. This is one of the things that I love about doing these group ones, is that there's a feeling of grace that comes in as we all kind of find that sweet spot together. And there's such a sweetness in it, circling up and reminding us who we are, like, oh yeah, I'm that. And gratitude is always a good state to help shift into, right? Just be grateful. I'm not alone. Good. So that feels, yeah, that's just a nice, sweet, clear, bright, gentle kind of tone. I'm not hearing any stories or drama in it. I'm just kind of feeling, just that kind of presence that we were looking for at the beginning. Yeah. So I'll end it with the forks here, but I want to share an important thought to end with. And that is that we get so stuck in either or thinking sometimes, that when we're in a snit or a fuss, or we're going around in circles, or we're fussing, that we're a human being having a human experience. And I think we're often kind of questing for that spiritual experience, that expanded awareness, that feeling like everything's all is well. When you're in that big place, you know that all is well, but we're still humans responding to the world that we're in. And I just want to tell you that it doesn't have to be either or. It can be both. Like, even when you're in your stuff and you're feeling fussy, or you're struggling in some way, you can still hold the awareness of that place that we just got into, that expanded sweet presence, that knowing you're not alone, that there's lots of us here that would give you a hug if we could. That when you get in your stuff and you get in your spin and your stuckness, it doesn't mean that you've lost that expanded, calm, radiant part of you. That's still there. And it's waiting for you to just kind of come back to it. And that healing is a place of moving from being dysregulated more than regulated, and not able to connect to that place, to becoming more and more regulated in time and being more and more connected to that and trusting in your ability to come back to it, and to practice that, coming back to that and moving from that space. So good. So now that you're all lit up inside and you're connected to these energies, like I said, go express, maybe express your desires, make your list of what you want to manifest, whatever that looks like. Okay. And hopefully this was helpful to you today, and you will go forth and more clearly make stuff happen. So maybe just drop a line, tell me how you feel. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your thanks. Made me feel lighter. Yeah. Just how do you feel right now? And anchor that and notice that, right? And maybe put that energy that you're feeling now into your water. Just, maybe it feels easier to love your water now, right? It was hard. What's with the dating sites, guys? Knock that off. Good God. All right, you guys. Wonderful. Directed and directing. Yeah. Directed and directing. I love that, right? And that's how we make stuff happen. Being intentional and directed and following through and not doing that loopy thing. All right. I love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Everybody stay well. Take care.